I brought up that I had breakfast this morning. I brought it up last segment. I brought up that I had breakfast with guys who are, don't worry, I'm going to tell you more going forward as I can, who are extremely interested and committed to creating essentially a separate parallel society within this nation. All legal, but separate businesses, separate areas, separate this, separate that. And I know, and that's why they met with me. They know I'm big on that, and I talk about that all the time. And I know that gets pushed back as well. And I understand why. I understand why the communists don't want to let us go, but I understand why you might push back on that. There's a lot of nostalgia for, that sounds anti-American. That doesn't sound right. It sounds like we're giving up. It doesn't sound these things. And what I'm here to tell you is, do you remember the Cold War? At least you read about it, depending on how old you are. I mostly read about it because it was ending about the time I was 8, 9, 10 years old. But you remember the Cold War, right? Think about what the Cold War was. The Cold War was us versus the Soviet Union. Now, I want you to do me a favor as we go into this FBI stuff. I want you to think to yourself, what did the United States of America, how did it conduct itself during the Cold War when it comes to its mission? The CIA, if you were in the CIA during the Cold War, you were mission focused on what? Bringing down the Soviet Union. FBI, mission focused, rooting out these potential Russian spies, Soviet spies within our borders. Our entire economy in this country, our entire economy became more mission focused on taking on and taking down the Soviet Union. We took the mission of an entire nation, America, and we aimed it at the communists in the Soviet Union. And in the end, the Soviet Union collapsed under that. Now, think about the global war on terror. CIA, all the intelligence agencies. For the last 20 years, what has been their mission focus? Islamic Jihad, global war on terror. Now, ISIS is all but decimated. I realize we've created a whole bunch of political unrest, but how many jihadis are now dead across the world because our mission focus was Islamic terror? As a nation state, the United States of America, that was our mission focus. You're the CIA, that's what you're going to be aimed at. You're special operations, that's what you're aimed at. FBI, go find these people, infiltrate that mosque. The entire nation aimed its sights at Islamic Jihad. The United States of America became mission-focused at various points during its history. At one point, we were mission-focused on defeating Germany and Japan. Put all our efforts, all the intelligence agencies, everything, went after it, destroyed them. Then it was the Soviet Union. Then it was the global war on terror. Now, it's you. And I know that's very, very difficult to hear. But this is the thing we have to wake up and acknowledge if we're going to come up with a plan on what to do, how to save ourselves and save what we can of this place. We are going to have to step into reality and acknowledge that's what we're dealing with here. Did you hear the latest from the FBI?
They were looking, the FBI in the Richmond field office was looking to put sources in churches, have informants in Catholic parishes. That's what they were looking to do. Someone needs to give them a lesson in the First Amendment. This memorandum that they put together that we now have, this memorandum talks about doing just that. And it was signed off on by 2 senior analysts and the chief division counsel there. How can a lawyer sign off on something like, and frankly, but for the whistleblower, I don't know that this wouldn't still be going on. And this thing was sent out to all the other field offices.
You know they're in your church already, right? Because the story of the day today is this memo, and oh my goodness, they sent out, they were going to go into Catholic Church. They were going to go. That's one memo from one field office that by Jim Jordan's own admission, we only ever found out because a whistleblower came forward. So what you've just seen is just the tip. That's it. That's the tip of the iceberg. They're already in it. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is officially the Stasi. They declared war on angry school board moms when that started costing Democrats elections. And they're after your church. They are. And we have to accept and acknowledge that the mission focus of the United States of America's federal government is stopping you. They are just as focused on stopping and stomping you as they were at stopping the Soviet Union, as they were at stopping Islamic Jihad, as they were at stopping Germany and Japan and whatever other focuses they've had. They now all have adjusted their mission focus, and they're all focused on you. And when you understand, accept, and acknowledge that, then you can begin to chart out some sort of a path forward. Then you will understand why I speak so loudly and so often about getting to a red state and making it redder and getting the low-T GOP in that state whipped into line and woken up. When I say things to people like you need a county sheriff in that red state who is willing to stand up for you and stand in between you and the FBI, I'm not doing an over-the-top for radio thing. I'm probably underselling it. You need a sheriff who, at the drop of a hat, will deputize your entire community to stand up to the Stasi when they come, because I promise you they're coming. The NSA is spying on you. CIA, who was it? When Hunter Biden's laptop was going to risk Joe Biden's election, who was it that stepped in and just at the drop of a hat, they stepped in to run cover for Hunter Biden? The Central Intelligence Agency. Who was working to defeat Donald Trump before the election? Central Intelligence Agency, in conjunction with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We talk so much about China, and understandably so, because they're our foe on the world stage. But the real God's honest truth is America's government ain't worried about China. They're not mission focused on China. They're not making the necessary adjustments to take on China. They're making the necessary adjustments to take on you.